Good morning, Ariel, Virginia. We've learned that this family moved into this Paris home back in 2014 into this nice quiet neighborhood where, as you've heard before, nobody really knew them. But before they lived here, they lived in Marietta, and neighbors there recalled some very odd behavior from their children.
Probably between 12 and 3, at nighttime you just see them in a single file line just marching in a circle between two rooms. And the two rooms would be lit up all day, all night. It's more like a military, it seemed like, if anything, you would think that there was just a real strict family.
Mike Clifford lived next to the family and remembers the children, but says they were always quiet, almost robotic, and never showed any emotions. Right now, sheriff's officials and doctors tell us they're working on getting the 13 siblings back to a healthy state. They say in cases of extreme prolonged starvation and malnutrition, victims need to be fed slowly to avoid major problems that may come with refeeding. The 7 adult children are together at one medical center while the 6 minors are at another. Doctors tell us it is hard to think of these 7 adults as adults because of how small they are, and it's so clear that they were malnourished and living in horrific conditions for quite some time. They worry that the 13 siblings will have long-term psychological damage from the torture they endured, and they're working on supporting them and making sure they're all comfortable during this long road to recovery. Now, both parents are being held on $9 million bail each. They are due in court tomorrow. Reporting live in Paris, California, Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
Thank you, Mimi. Now, before Marietta and Paris, the Turpins lived in the small town of Rio Vista, Texas. And new this morning, some people there are saying the behavior described by California investigators and neighbors sounds familiar.
They actually were like hoarders, and they moved themselves out of the house into this mobile home that they had here.
That woman didn't want to show her face, as you can see. She now lives in the house the Turpins used to own.
She never allowed her children to go outside and play. They homeschooled every one of them, and one day they just up and left.
Now, when she moved in, that woman says she found vents in the master bedroom closet, and she says that makes her wonder if children had been kept inside there. She also says the Turpins moved away with their home still filled with junk. Texas Child Protective Services says they never received any complaints about that family. Now, if you would like to get the latest developments in this story sent right to your phone, you can use our 10 News app. The alert you see there went out yesterday as officials gave an update on this case. The app is free in the App Store. All you have to do is go to Settings and enable notifications.
All right, now we want to take a live look at Capitol Hill as the White House's former chief strategist apparently stonewalled. Steve Bannon is now facing several subpoenas. They're all aimed at getting him to answer questions related to the Russia investigation. Bannon refused to comment during the nearly 10 hours of questioning yesterday. They wanted to know about his time at the White House, the firing of the FBI director, and accusations some officials were laundering money.
If he's precluded from answering any questions during transition or administration, and many questions even after he left the White House, obviously we're not able to do our job.
Sources tell ABC Bannon has also been subpoenaed to appear before a grand jury over the Russia probe.
Happening today, a preliminary hearing set for 3 people accused of killing a man during an attempted robbery in La Mesa. Happened back in July. Police arrested those people who are Derek Henderson, Tisha Miller-Johnson, and Catherine Luana Williams. Now, witnesses say there was some sort of argument in this shopping center parking lot when somebody fired a shot, killing Travis Lewis. Henderson, by the way, was arrested after an officer-involved shooting in City Heights just days later.
Well, now to a developing story. We still don't know what led up to a deadly Marine-on-Marine stabbing at Camp Pendleton. The Marine Corps said the incident happened at the School of Infantry yesterday morning. It apparently took place while the 2 Marines were training. 1 Marine is in custody. Officials have not released his name or the name of the Marine who was killed.
So happening today, this UC Berkeley student will find out if he'll be able to return to school after first being detained at an immigration checkpoint. Now, agents found Luis Mora to be in violation of his visa condition last month. He and his girlfriend ended up at an immigration checkpoint after they missed a turn on their way home from a party in Jamul. The San Diego Union Tribune reports Mora missed his first day of spring classes yesterday. Now, today, a judge will decide if Mora will stay in detention or be released until his case is heard.
We have a 10 News health alert. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said the flu is so widespread, it's now considered an epidemic. The disease has touched every state in the continental U.S. This hasn't happened since the CDC started tracking the flu's spread 13 years ago. The CDC is still urging everybody to get a flu shot to prevent it from spreading further. Meanwhile, the disease closer to home here has killed 91 people in San Diego County, and there have been more than 10,000 cases.
This is a developing story. People injured in the flash flooding and terrible mudslides in Montecito are now suing 2 utility companies. That lawsuit says a Southern California Edison transformer sparked the Thomas fire last month. And of course, that fire then wiped out vegetation, making this area vulnerable to these mudslides. The suit also says a Montecito Water District water main failed the morning of the mudslides, and that just added water to this already devastating mess. The mudslides have killed at least 20 people, destroyed more than 100 homes, and 3 people are still missing.
Happening today, Burt Bacharach will host a musical event to raise money for the San Luis Rey Downs after the lilac fire killed 46 horses and hurt several of their caretakers. Bacharach, a horse owner and racing fan himself, will host the event at the Belly Up Tavern in Solana Beach. Elvis Costello will perform at the event as well. Guests will auction off several things, or they'll bid on several things, including the chance to sing with Bacharach on stage. The event starts tonight at 7:30.
4:39, another nice day on tap.
Yeah.
While the East Coast and the Midwest and even down in Texas, they're freezing.
I know, yeah. Even the drop in temperatures we're going to be seeing as we get into Friday, we're talking about the 60s. That would be a warm-up, a significant warm-up for everybody else, and it's going to be a major drop in temperatures here. Now, there is some patchy fog along our coastline. As far as our reporting station goes, visibility doesn't look too horrible, about 3 miles in Oceanside, 4 in San Diego, but there may be some pockets that aren't showing up at our reporting stations that are dealing with a little bit worse fog. So just leave time for travel. Most of that fog generally along our coastline. And our high surf advisory has been extended through 8 p.m. on Saturday. Waves will actually lower today into tomorrow, but then pick up again on Friday as that storm system approaches. Waves 5 to 9 feet with sets to 12 feet along with strong rip currents. And most of the county today in the 70s. We'll be tracking that storm that's heading in our way and on our way in Friday when I come back in about 8 minutes. Kalina?
Well, we do have some construction to start off with right now. If you're going to be traveling on the 5 freeway heading southbound right at Kettner, we do have that off ramp blocked off. And then out in the East County area, out on the 8 eastbound at Fairmont Mission Gorge, we do have that off ramp off limits as well. And then up in North County, 78, excuse me, eastbound right at Barham, off ramp also off limits. Everything else is really quiet. We are accident free. We had a problem earlier, but that already cleared up. And I'm going to track all of the activity. And we'll also head out to Coronado coming up.
Confident that we're not breaking any laws or doing anything against the Constitution.
The mayor of El Cajon is firing back at people criticizing the ban on feeding the homeless at city parks. How he's defending the controversial ban.
And deputies searching for a gunman who opened fire after a hotel in Hollywood threw away his marijuana.
Today, skateboarders will have a chance to shred up this brand new skate park in City Heights. Welcome back. 4:44 on this Wednesday morning, 55 degrees downtown. Megan Parry says we have another nice one on tap, but drastic change coming toward the end of the week. You're going to want to hear about it, get ready for it. Don't go away.
All right, now to a follow-up. 10 News has been monitoring out of El Cajon. The mayor is speaking for the first time after a group of volunteers was arrested for feeding the homeless at Wells Park.
The homeless people tend to congregate in the park area. They tend not to use the bathrooms like they're supposed to, which contaminates the grass. And then these groups were coming out and feeding large numbers of people in the grass areas.
That's El Cajon Mayor Bill Wells. He says the city followed proper protocol and did nothing wrong. Wells says the temporary ban was passed back in October to prevent the spread of Hep A.
Reality is this is a temporary ban. As soon as the county-wide epidemic problem is lifted, we will lift the ban.
Activists are planning another event at Wells Park later this month. There are other resources available for those in need, and you can find them on our website, 10news.com.
4:45 right now, deputies are looking for a man who fired shots outside the Mondrian Hotel in West Hollywood. Witnesses on Sunset Boulevard reported hearing up to 12 shots. Deputies say the shooter was a guest at the hotel on Monday. Then they say he returned last night angry the staff had thrown out his marijuana stash. They say the man got away in a silver hatchback with a woman driving. Nobody was hurt.
Well, new information this morning. One California lawmaker is pushing to ban gas-powered cars from being sold in California. Congressman Phil Ting of San Francisco introduced a new bill this month. He's calling for every car sold in the state to have zero gas emissions. This would begin in 2040. It would still be legal to drive gas-powered cars or trucks that are already on the road. Governor Jerry Brown wants to have 1.5 million clean energy vehicles on state roads by 2025.
So today, the long-anticipated skate park in City Heights will officially open. The skate park is at Park de la Cruz on Landis Street. The opening comes nearly 3 years after the hit-and-run death of 15-year-old skateboarder Jonathan Cortez, and the community wanted a safe space for kids to skate. Well, city leaders, including Mayor Kevin Faulconer, will cut the ribbon today at 3:30. They'll also be giving away skateboards, helmets, and iPads.
What?
Yeah, excellent. I was thinking maybe knee pads or elbow pads.
No, iPads, much
That's
more
right.
valuable.
Don't iPad and skateboard at the same time,
that's
though.
quite an upgrade. I mean, yeah, you get to go skate and you get an iPad. Yeah, that sounds like a win-win. And today's going to be a lovely day to get outdoors and be active. Go skating, go running, go biking, do whatever you want. Maybe just go to lunch if you want. It is going to be a beautiful day. There is some patchy fog. I'm looking towards Mission Bay right now. It looks a little foggy here. Visibility doesn't look horrible in most areas, but Oceanside now reporting only about 1.5 miles of visibility. So if you are going to be driving this morning along our coastline, you may run into some patchy fog, and it could be getting worse as we head through the morning just before sunrise. So of course I'll be tracking that for you, and I'll let you know of any changes. Temperatures are starting off pretty close to where we have been the rest of the week. 50s and 40s across the board, 49 in El Cajon, 56 degrees downtown. And warm today as high pressure continues to sit over the west, keeping the storm track to the north of us for now. This storm right here is going to be taking a southerly dip, diving into Southern California Friday. That's going to bring us drastically cooler temperatures. In fact, temperatures are going to plummet 10 to 20 degrees from today to Friday into Saturday. Friday and Saturday are both going to be fairly chilly. And then we'll see scattered light to moderate showers on Friday. As of right now, it's looking like they should arrive after the morning commute, but of course we'll be tracking that for any changes, and they may linger into early Saturday morning. But overall, the weekend will be dry. Big waves and strong rip currents again continue through Saturday, and fog could be an issue again tomorrow morning, mainly along our coastline. So 70s today along our coastline, low 60s Friday and Saturday, minor warming into next week, and that storm that we were tracking for next week, looking like it's going to stay to the north of us. So it does look like we're going to be keeping it dry next week. Of course, if anything changes, we'll let you know. Mid 70s today and tomorrow for our valleys. Friday and Saturday, low 60s. Some areas on Saturday actually struggling to climb into the 60s. And windy in our mountains and deserts as Friday, much cooler as well. And we may see maybe an inch or two of snow over Palomar and Mount Laguna.